Okay, so what we're going to look at now is the panel planer, which is commonly referred to as a thicknesser in the industry. Now, the main function or the main purpose of this particular machine is to reduce the board to the correct width and thickness. So let's have a look at the machine itself. What we have is we have our star delta switch, we have our cutter block, feed rollers. This is our isolation switch here. We've got our feed lever, so depending on what feed, ranging from 6 metres to 18 metres per minute. Rise and fall. This is to calibrate the depth of cut that we want, and this is for our fine adjustment. On the side of the table itself is a lever which actually locks the table into position. Also, what we have down at the feet is an emergency stop button in case we need to stop the machine urgently. When feeding the timber into the machine, never put the material and stand directly behind the actual timber itself. Otherwise, we'd kick back. If it does kick back, the timber will come back and hit you or injure you. You may be injured. The other thing to do also is never put your hands directly on top as you're feeding it through, or put your hands underneath the table and the board. The other important factor is if once the material is in the machine and for whatever reason it does get stuck, don't look inside to see where the board is. Okay, always turn the machine off first before checking or making any adjustments to get the material out. When bringing the timber down to size, always do your width first, then followed by the thickness of the material. The reason or the main purpose behind that is if it gets too thin and then we try to do it this way, it will actually, as it goes through, will actually roll inside. So therefore your board will no longer remain square. The other important thing is also to check grain direction. So when feeding it into the machine, you should always check the direction of grain to ensure you get a nice clean cut. When setting the depth of cut on a thicknesser, it will depend on the size of the board that you're putting through. If you've got a wide board or like a tabletop and it covers 90% or majority of the table, the maximum you want to be looking at would probably be 1 millimetre at a time. But in the case of small pieces or boards like we have here, that you may be able to do anything up to 5 millimetres at a given time. But as a general rule, 2 to 3 millimetres would be about standard. What we're about to do now is to actually start the machine and show you the procedure to start the machine. Normally we would have the dust extraction running, but just for the purpose of this video, we're actually going to go through the process of starting the machine prior to actually putting the dust extraction on. Once we've gone through that process and we actually go to actually run the material, we'll actually put the dust extraction on then. So, first thing we need to do is to push the cutter block button in, which it already is. Once that's in position, we can then switch that to star first to let it build up speed, and then flick it over to delta, and then push the roller in feed button so that it's now operational, ready to go. So the machine now is ready to feed the material. To turn the machine off, we simply turn it back to the off position.